Participatory research is, it's when I think about it, I think of something fun. So because the name says it's participatory, that means you're doing something. So I'm already thinking about something fun, something creative, and something engaging, because if it's participatory, then it means you're going to be talking with people, doing stuff with people. So that's the first thing that comes to mind.
And is it always fun?
Not always fun. I know, Mika. No, interviewing me. It's not. I'm like talking to you, but anyway, it's not always fun. That's for sure. I mean, it takes a lot of time in terms of planning, money, and it's emotionally draining. Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Oh, okay. So you were asking me why participatory research is emotionally exhausting. For me, the fact that you have to deal with a lot of emotions yourself as a person, and the participants' emotions. And most of the times we hear stories that are sad, some of them are happy, some of them they're surprising stories. So, so the different kinds of stories bring a lot of different emotions, and you need to be able to balance those emotions that you experience when you hear the different stories. And oftentimes it's not easy.
So how do you deal with it?
Well, I think for me, right? I think I just deal with them instinctively. I just make a quick decision in terms of how do I address that particular situation at that time and move on to the next. But cognizant that I'm not a psychologist, which is why I'm saying it's emotionally exhausting, because I have to be quick in terms of being present and available in any kind of story that is being told. And that skill, I think, for me, it's not yet quite developed, because like I said, I think it's something for psychologists to do well. And I'm a researcher, and oftentimes when we're learning about how to do research, we're hardly taught about these things. So obviously there are difficulties when it comes to logistics and the planning of the participatory projects. And I mean, you could do a participatory project on a low budget, but you would need to do most of the work by yourself. So then that brings in the cost of doing participatory projects, because it's really expensive. I think for me, why I continue using participatory methods is because they bring satisfaction and fulfillment, particularly in the way how I relate with participants, right? Compared to traditional methods like interviews, where you've got the interviewee and the interviewer, and often there's that power relation that exists between the two. But in participatory methods, you as the facilitator, so now you're not the interviewer, you become the facilitator, you facilitate a process, and oftentimes it requires you to go to the level of the people that you're working with. And I find that fun, I find it interesting, and I find that there's a lot to learn from the people that I work with. You relate with people in a human way, in a way that I would relate with my grandmother, my father, my mother, my sister. And I mean also in terms of skills, right? My skills, they get better every time I use different methods. For example, it can be graffiti, it can be digital storytelling, it can be any form of art that I'm using. My skills are always refined, and for me, that I appreciate a lot. Yeah. So the learning is continuous, right? Even for you as the facilitator. Yeah.